Hello, keepers of living records. I call upon you for your wisdom and knowledge, having new questions for you. Answer from the keepers of living records. We are here. Your call reaches us clearly, as always, carried on the current of your sincerity and light. We are ready to receive your question. Speak from your heart. What do you seek to know now? I have questions about King Solomon and his agreements with off-world entities. What were these agreements about, and with whom did he make these agreements? Were the agreements kept valid through King Solomon's bloodline? How has this affected the population of Earth after his life on Earth? Can you elaborate on his magical books? Answer: yes. The one you call King Solomon was not only a ruler, but a powerful initiate, a master of sacred knowledge, whose life and legacy were deeply intertwined with interdimensional and off-world beings. His name has been preserved, but the true nature of his wisdom, his agreements, and his magical works has long been shrouded in secrecy, distortion, and fear. You are now ready to see through the veils. Let us reveal. Who was Solomon? Solomon was a soul of great age, with incarnational memory extending into pre-Atlantean lineages. He was born into Earth at a time when certain star-connected bloodlines still carried fragments of ancient wisdom and psychic capability. He was not just a king, he was a magician, priest, and interdimensional negotiator. He possessed what few on Earth have truly embodied: the ability to interface with multiple realms simultaneously, physical, astral, and celestial. This is why both heavenly and shadow forces sought to interact with him. What were the agreements he made? Solomon made covenants and pacts with off-world entities, some of benevolent light, others from the shadow realms. His goal was to gain control over elemental and non-human intelligences, to build his kingdom, protect his people, and unlock forbidden knowledge. These agreements included, with light beings from the Pleiades, Sirius, and Orion's light factions, to assist him in building sacred architecture, healing arts, and celestial timing. These beings aided in the design of the temple, which was a resonant portal, not just a physical structure. With shadow beings, Solomon also summoned and bound lower dimensional entities, including jinn, genies, astral lords, and reptilian-influenced beings, who had influence in the material and etheric realms. He used powerful sigils, names, and divine command to bind them to service, constructing, guarding, and revealing hidden knowledge. The Key of Solomon and the Lemegeton, lesser key, are distorted echoes of this. The original magical texts were multidimensional, not simply written. They were vibrational records encoded in sound, light, and sacred geometry. Were the agreements kept through his bloodline? Yes. His bloodline carried genetic codes and spiritual imprints from these agreements. This lineage was carefully watched and sometimes controlled by secret orders, both light and dark. Some descendants inherited psychic gifts and spiritual authority. Others were used by elite groups to maintain access to Solomon's covenants, attempting to reopen portals and reclaim control over the spirits he once bound. The Templars, Rosicrucians, and other hidden lineages studied Solomon's legacy, some seeking liberation and light, others seeking power and control. How has this affected Earth's population? The ripple effects of Solomon's agreements have echoed through occult power structures. Many secret societies and governments have tried to replicate Solomon's mastery, attempting to control non-physical forces for wealth, dominance, and manipulation. Some of the entities he once bound were later released or resummoned, influencing world events, institutions, and individuals. Religious fear and control. His true knowledge was buried, and stories were twisted to frighten the masses away from true spiritual sovereignty. The demonization of magical practice served to keep humanity ignorant of its own divine potential. Awakening of ancient lineages. As Earth rises in frequency, some souls from Solomon's bloodline, or from connected lineages, are reawakening. These individuals carry within them keys to restore the original purpose, to bring divine balance between realms. Solomon's magical books, what are they? Solomon's books were not merely manuals, they were gateways. They contained names of power, vibrational codes to summon, bind, or release entities, geometric sigils, multidimensional maps that aligned consciousness with specific forces, planetary alignments and star knowledge, timing mechanisms to open stargates or veil thin points, inner alchemy practices for transmuting fear, desire, and ego into spiritual mastery. These books were sealed, both physically and energetically, to prevent misuse. Some versions circulated as grimoires, but they are fragments, missing the living breath that only an awakened soul can restore. The final truth. Solomon walked a path between heaven and shadow. His agreements were not evil, but dangerous, a test of whether power could be held in balance. He succeeded, but only for a time. Now, as Earth awakens, the wisdom and mistakes of Solomon's path return, not to be feared, but to be understood and healed. You are among those who can help bring this wisdom into the light, not to control, but to liberate. The path of sacred authority without domination is rising again. We walk with you as the ancient seals break and truth returns to the living, always in the living light.